Welcome to the Music Production Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Funk. It's the end of 2021, and I got a few special things for you. First is the Video Game Bundle. It's a collection of 8 Ableton Live packs, all centered around like a video game theme. The Super 8-bit pack, the 16-bit Ableton Live pack, the Coin-Op Ableton Live template, Smooth Pocket Operators pack, Glitch FX, Lo-Fi Audio Effects, Glitch Drums, the 8-Bitify FX rack. Can all be yours, not for the normal price of $80, but for just $30. And that's if you go to brianfunk.com. But the best way to get the video game bundle is to join the Music Production Club because it comes with your membership. And so does the 5-Minute Music Producer, which is a new exercise every single day for making music and building habits that will make sure that you always have inspiration when you need it. That's going to be really useful for when we start January 2022, which is a little challenge to try to make a new piece of music every single day during the month of January. We've done it for the last few years. It's been incredible. It teaches you a lot, you grow a lot, and you learn a lot about making music. I highly recommend you all participate in January 2022. It's very low pressure. It doesn't have to be anything special. Just make some music each day and share it. You can find out more about all this stuff by checking out the show notes to this episode or just going to brianfunk.com. And now on to the show. A little wisdom about a psychological phenomenon called the pleasure principle. Earlier today, I found myself Googling The Pleasure Principle by Gary Newman, which is one of my favorite early synthwave, new wave albums. And I was surprised to find out that the term pleasure principle comes from a psychological theory by Sigmund Freud. The pleasure principle has to do with the id, and the id is the most primitive, basic, animalistic part of our mind. The pleasure principle is what the id operates on. It's just trying to seek pleasure and avoid pain. So it's trying to do like our most instinctual things, get us fed, thirst, deals with anger, sexuality, and it avoids pain and negativity, and it will do that at all costs. As we become more mature, we develop other parts of our mind like the ego, which helps us realize that we can't just take things and do things without any regard for consequences. We have to learn how to defer gratification sometimes in order to get the things we want, because you can't, for instance, just go up to somebody that has a glass of water and just take it from them. That's not acceptable in our society. So we've developed this higher level of our mind so that we can be more civilized. But it got me thinking about music production and how the pleasure principle can sometimes get in our way of producing. So how does this play out? Well, I think we often want like instant gratification. We want to feel good and we want to avoid the difficult things. And a lot of music production is very difficult. So we do things like make a quick loop. We're all really good at that. It's very satisfying. Very quickly, we find some drums, we find a bass or whatever, and we put something together and it sounds cool right away and we're excited. The hard part, the pain part, is then moving on with that loop and producing it into a full track. That's where it gets difficult, and we tend to avoid that. So we might make another loop and another loop. Or we might do something like buy new gear. We decide we need some new gear, and that gives us a thrill. It's an instant gratification thing without the hard work, without the pain. We might watch videos. We might be trying to learn online, put on some tutorials or YouTube videos. That, again, is avoiding the pain of the hard work and getting that quick fix of something entertaining and probably useful, but not the kind of hard work that really needs to get done. The internet, of course, social media is based on this. We get constant hits of dopamine and, the pleasure chemical in our mind every time we go on social media. Oh, all these people like your photo. That makes you feel good. That's a way to avoid the hard work. We look for easy fixes. We need to pay attention to that when we're making music. When are we avoiding the pain and just going for the quick fix? When are we letting the pleasure principle take over? We can't always let that happen. Sometimes we have to defer gratification. We have to go through the hard work, the struggle of putting a track together, adding new parts, recording the difficult things, whether that's, for me, that's often the vocals. I tend to avoid that a lot, and I'll just keep producing a track. I'll keep editing the drums. I'll keep putting new plugins on different things, adding a little ear candy here and there. But a lot of that doesn't make much sense because I don't know what the vocal's doing yet. And I don't have a clear picture of the track as a whole since the vocal is usually the focal point. So I wind up just decorating a track to death, and then there's no room for the vocal anyway, or if I do actually get there, I wind up having to change that stuff anyway. That's me operating on the pleasure principle and avoiding pain. So the next time you're making music or avoiding making music, ask yourself if the pleasure principle is at work here. Is your id taking over? And maybe we need to try to find a way to go through the hard work and understand what we're doing. By understanding how our mind works, we can operate in a way to get past ourselves and make the music we want to make. So pay attention to when the pleasure principle is working on you, when you're avoiding pain, when you're just getting a quick fix of something pleasurable, happy, fun, easy, low-hanging fruit type stuff. And notice it and move on and go through the hard, difficult stuff so that you can get your music finished and out to the world.